Good evening and welcome to Sunset News this Friday evening, the show that brings you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Diana Master. Let's get into the news tonight. The German delegation met with the governor of Irongo region, the rural Walvis councillor, the regional director of education and the circuit inspector of education to discuss the ongoing project at JP Brandt Primary School in Oneuptwo. Let's have a look.
I said the relationship between Germany and Namibia dates back before independence, the colonial resistance time, and that relationship not only is at the government-to-government level, but it goes not only speak German.
We know about the system by itself, but we don't know exactly how we can produce it. And is it different to form maybe a corridor of about 0.7 millimeters to forming a bipolar plate?
We are going to ease the burden of the budget of the Ministry of Education, paying electricity every month to this and water. So once we find a solution to the water and electricity situation, then we are talking. And once we understand what you are doing there, we will be able to solicit support from within the whole Irongo region, so that we transform the schools from Oneuptwo to other areas such as Daures and so on to migrate from the Greek.
Also indicated in the questions that is that we don't only have a school, although we will benefit. The learners are coming from a community, and the community is stretched alongside that whole river. So what is the benefit there for the community? Is it only just going to benefit?
Getting into our next story, at a press conference at Rossing Uranium Mine, Managing Director Johan Kutsia elaborated on an agreement signed in May which will allow Beifang to take on more mining activities as a contractor and eventually assume full mining operations by 2027. Rossing is the oldest continuous uranium mine in the world, and following its record profits in 2022, it received approval earlier this year to extend its lifespan until 2036. Here's a video.
We have to speak now on the plant to make phase 4 possible. Okay, we have eventually then an expression of interest from 20 contractor companies, and as we go through the process of narrowing down, we ended up with 3 companies that was the final shortlist, and at the end of the day, the successful company was Beifang. Very important, Beifang has also in that contract with them, Beifang will have 95% Namibians working for Namibia. They're currently recruiting, so you might have seen Beifang recruiting in there, but they will have more than 95% Namibians. And as senior management, because they're a Chinese-owned company, they will be Chinese nationals in that as well.
When did you sign?
I think it was May. Yeah, it was May. It was the board only approved in February, and then we could finalize it.
Thank you very much.
I think we'll take one more, but Emma, before I get to you, let me just see if there's another hand.
Yeah, Rama.
I wanted to find out, seeing that Rossing's life is extended until 2036.
Yes. Two of the things we did, we updated the mine closure plan as well last year. So we had 2 streams running. The one was life of mine expansion, and one was mine closure. Because if we couldn't get that project approved, then we would have closed the mine in 2026. So we've updated the closure plans, we've updated the costing assigned to that, and we are now currently in the process. Jackie and the team is very much busy engaging the regulators for them to do it. Because currently in Namibia we don't have a law that regulates closure. So there is a draft closure plan that the government has been putting together. But what we're doing now is we're actually taking through what we plan to do. And also comment on what that draft bill says. But we've got a closure plan. It's a very thick document. We have, Rossing since the start up, started putting money in a trust for closure. So that money can't be touched. So when the Rossing closes one day, according to what's agreed with the government in the closure plan, we use that money to do it. And every year we keep on putting money into that trust.
The Bank of Namibia hosted the second meeting of the Central Monetary Area Governors at Strand Hotel in Swakopmund. The CMA meeting consisted of 4 countries, namely Namibia, South Africa, Lesotho and Eswatini. Governor of the Bank of Namibia, Johannes Gavagab, said the meeting will reflect, among others, on the implementation of the strategy of the CMA and receive updates on cross-border payments, exchange controls and financial stability in the CMA. Let's have a look.
And Swakop is a river. So if you hear about Swakopmund, it's a river in the mouth of the river, Swakopmund. So that's, many people don't know that. To set the tone for the rest of the deliberations, we must reflect on where we left off during our last meeting in Maseru, Lesotho, and develop clear action plans to deliver on our strategy. On the agenda this morning, we will reflect, amongst others, on the implementation of the strategy of the CMA governors. We will receive updates on cross-border payments, exchange controls, and financial stability in the CMA. Governors, the world is facing near stagflation. Geopolitical fault lines are clearer than ever before. The war between Russia and Ukraine is raging on unabated, while competition and tension between the superpowers, China and the US, are intensifying. Policymakers are facing a unique constellation of challenges. On the one hand, central banks all over the world have been fighting to bring inflation back under control. Prices are rising too fast, albeit decelerating in most recent times. On the other hand, financial vulnerabilities are widespread. Each of these challenges, inflation and tight financing conditions by itself, would be difficult to tackle. Their combination is a daunting challenge for central bank and policymakers. Understandably, there is growing concern among the public regarding the persistent cost of living challenge. We have been decisive and remain committed to our mandate to combat inflation. Headline inflation in the CMA remains elevated and averaged 6.4% for the first quarter of 2023, but the nature of the inflation is changing. We are seeing a decline in the inflation rate as shocks that drove up inflation wane, as our monetary policy actions are transmitted to the economy.
In our Story of the Day segment, the Namibia University of Science and Technology and the University in Botswana signed a Memorandum of Understanding. We get into the full details right after this break.
This is Africa. Good morning.
My name is Aina Raizakwaya alongside Diana Master.
In the ANC conference in December. So starting off with the cycling.
Africa, good morning. Do have a lovely...
Minister Monica Mchangwa has said that
with the soccer, the English Premier League continued, the biggest game being...
On that note, it is all our love, all our light.
Let's get into our story of the day. Namibia University of Science and Technology and Botswana University of Agriculture and Natural Resources signed a Memorandum of Understanding today in Windhoek at NUST main campus. This, according to Dr. Erod Naumab, Vice-Chancellor at NUST, is a commitment by both universities to join the Southern African Science Service Centre for Climate Change and Adaptive Land Management and Water Resource Quantity and Availability, hosted by BUAN. Let's take a look.
So it is estimated that 97% is in the oceans and is too salty to be used for drinking or producing crops or most industrial uses, except cooling. I want to say here, it is true, but recently we've realized that there is a far more greater opportunity in terms of usage of our water resources. Part of that has been the emergence of green hydrogen and how we can tap into these resources and create energy that can transform our economic sectors. But nonetheless, it says here that only 3% of the water on the planet is fresh. And of this very small percent, not all of it is accessible. Due to the fact that Botswana and Namibia are amongst the driest countries in sub-Saharan Africa, we must ensure that the limited water we actually have is available in sufficient quantity and quality. It is against this background that SASCAL Graduate Studies Program in Integrated Water Resources Management was established in response to a need for adequate human resources in water management and sciences, particularly in the SASCAL member countries and SADC in general, to support the efforts and activities of SG, SP, NAS in cooperation with BUAN, is committed to jointly establishing a SASCAL research chair in water resource quantity and availability hosted by BUAN. It is my hope that this chair will facilitate collaboration between high-level internationally recognized researchers and teaching staff of BUAN and other institutions in the 5 SASCAL countries, namely Angola, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, and Zambia. The SADC region as a whole, and also our technical partners in the pursuance of this excellence is Germany and beyond. In addition, the chair will work closely and collaboratively with SGSPIWRM. I always find this such a long acronym. Doctoral student supervisors to strengthen the capacity in designing and executing interdisciplinarity in line with key thematic areas of the SGSP. Furthermore, I am reliably informed that the chair will promote an integrated system of research, training, information, and documentation on water resource quantity and availability. This will support development and deployment of innovative, excellent, and collaborative education and research at
Stick around for our community talk segment coming up after the break.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
In Community Talk tonight, Irongo Red yesterday announced a 9% tariff adjustment on electricity effective from the 1st of July 2023. Irongo Red's acting CEO Nico Niemand tells us more.
Hereby, Mr. Nankombe, is to share with you and by extension the general public information pertaining to the adjustment of a 2023-24 financial period. Ladies and gentlemen, in May 2023, the Electrical Control Board, shortly known as the ECB, announced that the manpower average tariff will increase from $1.82 to $2.12 per kilowatt hour for the financial year 2023 and 24. This constitutes to a weighted average increase of 8.97. However, the actual impact to Irongo Red was very not close, but it was 9.9%. In June, after engaging different stakeholders, such as the board, shareholders, and consumer liaison committees, Irongo Red submitted an application to the Electrical Control Board for a tariff adjustment of 9.1%. The Electrical Control Board, the ECB, approved a weighted average increase of 9% as from the 1st of July 2023, except for the prepayment tariff, which were effective as from today. The detailed tariff schedule will be placed in various newspapers on our website, as well as on the tariff booklet, which can be obtained from our offices. I wish to reiterate that that although the proof-weighted tariff of 9%, the impact on customers will vary depending on the individual consumer consumption patterns and the type of connection. It is worth to mention that for every unit sold, about 70% goes to manpower. Erongo used the remaining 36% for its operational budget. With regard to the statutory levies, the ECB levy will remain unchanged for this period of 12 months, starting from the 1st of July till 30 June 2024. Similarly, the NEF levy will stay the same for this financial year. Ladies and gentlemen, the tariff increase are not unique to our region only. The bulk tariff increase will be applied countrywide. Apart from the bulk tariff increases by the national utility, there are also factors such as operation and maintenance costs, customer service costs, overheads and working capital. Although these factors have an impact on the input cost to bring electricity to all these factors have an impact on the input cost to bring electricity to the end user. Despite the increases, we had to look for possible ways to cushion the impact on our customers while ensuring service delivery is not compromised. Thus, the company has resolved to continue with a subsidized tariff for pensioners and low-income members. Thus, I want to once again appeal to our pensioners to please re-register again so that they continue to benefit from the subsidized tariff.
In economic news after the break, rough diamonds export receipts rose to 4.3 billion Namibian dollars during the first quarter of 2023. We get into the full details of the story after the break.
Ranging from current affairs, community stories,
Thank you for joining the show that highlights the news-making headlines in the land of the brave and beyond.
Always major victorious.
In economic news tonight, rough diamonds export receipts rose to 4.3 billion Namibian dollars during the first quarter of 2023 from 1.9 billion Namibian dollars in the corresponding quarter of 2022, according to the Bank of Namibia. The increase reflected a rise in volumes exported on the back of an expansion in marine output due to the additional production from the new Benguela gem vessel, further reinforced by the currency depreciation. On a quarterly basis, however, rough diamonds export earnings fell by 24.8%, attributed to lower exported volumes resulted from normal pattern of sales break during January. Now let's take a look at the financial indicators. $24.52 buys you 1 British pound, while 2 Namibian dollars and 64 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. Looking at commodities, all commodities are up, with gold trading at $1,926 per ounce and copper going for $8,279 per ton. In international news, a British businessman calls on UK companies to seek greater cooperation with transformed China. Stick around.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
In international news tonight, a British businessman has told of the total transformation he has witnessed in China since first visiting half a century ago and encouraged UK companies to seek out more business opportunities in the country. Let's have a look.
Everything has changed in China. The transformation is total, complete. I first came here 50 years ago, so this is my 50th anniversary. The China that I saw in 1972 was a peasant country. The people were in the fields, picking the rice, sowing the seeds. It was completely and totally a peasant country. 90% of the people were peasants. I think at that time everybody moved by bicycle, and cars were quite rare, made in Shanghai. I think I've seen the people go through different changes. I've seen the peasants come off the land and come into the cities, try and find homes, education. It was just a fascinating time. So what's changed in China? Absolutely everything. When I look out of my window, I don't recognize a single building. They're all new. You have to remember China's in transition. But if you ask me the question, what can be successful from China in the world markets? Everything. Everything. But I think that China's moving its quality higher and higher. I think China's trade will increase more with Asia than with Europe or America in the current circumstances. If you ask me what is the core of Xi Jinping's thinking, it's about civilization. And if you ask yourself the question, where are the civilizations that he's focused on, it's Asia. And that, I think, tells you a lot. How do you become integrated with the Asian civilizations? It's by doing trade and business with them. And so I think there'll be an increase. There's already a significant statistical increase in China's trade with Asia. So I say to British companies, if you want to be involved with China, you have to be involved in Asia.
Let's take a look at the weather predictions. The northern region can expect clear weather conditions throughout the day, with the maximum temperature ranging from 25 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. The same can be expected for the central region, where the conditions will be clear throughout the day, with the maximum temperature ranging from 27 degrees to 25 degrees. Looking at the southern region, they can also expect clear weather throughout the day, with partly cloudy conditions in Nariamsvlei, with a maximum temperature ranging from 15 to 17 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, the same can be said for the coastal region, with early morning rain in Oranjemund, with the maximum temperature ranging from 16 degrees to 22 degrees Celsius, and the minimum temperature ranging from 12 degrees to 14 degrees Celsius. We'll now head over to the sports desk, proudly brought to you by SportsRab.
Good evening and welcome to the Sunset News Sports section. This is Jesse Jackson Kauraitha, your host for tonight. Namibia's senior national team coach Colin Benjamin is adamant that there is still more to play for in the COSAFA Cup competition after his side hosts Eswatini on Saturday. The Brave Warriors will go into Saturday's night's match, COSAFA clash against Eswatini, desperately in need of 3 points in order to bolster their chances of advancing from the group stage. Namibia goes into the match in second place after playing to a 1-1 stalemate against South Africa in their opener. Brave Warriors coach Colin Benjamin is fully aware that they need a result against Lesotho. The Richelieu Eagles, 196 runs for the loss of 4 in 20 overs yesterday, won their second T20 match by 73 runs versus Uganda, 123-10 in 119.1 at United. Meanwhile, Netherlands shocked Scotland with a wicket victory to progress to the 2023 World Cup in India. They will face Sri Lanka in the final. Members of the Dion Hotto Foundation paid a courtesy visit to the municipality of Swakopmund recently. The foundation presented a framed and signed soccer jersey from Hotto to the municipality as a symbol of his dedication to the sport and his appreciation for Swakopmund. That brings us to the end of tonight's Sunset News Sports section. Good night.
Now let's get into the highlights from today's broadcast. At a press conference at Rossing Uranium Mine, Managing Director Johan Coetzee elaborated on an agreement signed in May which will allow Bayfang to take on more mining activities as a contractor and eventually assume full mining operations by 2027. Namibia University of Science and Technology and Botswana University of Agriculture and Natural Resources signed a memorandum of understanding today in Windhoek at NUST main campus. In sport, Namibia senior national team coach Colin Benjamin is adamant that there is still more to play for in the COSAFA Cup competition after his side hosts Eswatini on Saturday. And that brings us to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook on all the NMA's platforms on weekdays and Sundays, as well as on our website oneuptwo.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every weekday and on Sundays from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Diana Master. This has been Sunset News.